We can't get enough of James Harden talk. We can't get enough. I love it. You love it. Everybody loves it. The reason everybody loves it is because it's the unknown. You know? The question now, as we get closer to training camp, is will he play? Will he play for the Sixers? And I think it's just fascinating because it's something that nobody can answer. And we're getting closer to finding out. Like, we're going to find out the answer. It's going to happen. Ramona Shelburne recently went on Zach Lowe's podcast and dropped some more juicy little information. We're going to go over it and we're going to talk about it right now.
Run it back, Philly. No frauds, no fanboys, no intros.
Perfect. Give me my hat.
Run it back, Philly. No frauds, no fanboys, no intros.
Run it back, Nation. What is good? It is your boy DJ Eastwood. Run it back, Philly. No frauds, no fanboys, no intros. If I sound a little bit like early Marshall Mathers, it's because I'm just a little bit stuffed up. Okay, got seasonal allergies. All right. Hit the like button on the video. Give me 500 likes. Subscribe to the channel. Turn your notification bell on. All those things. Go to the merch store. Get the Maxi Season t-shirt right now. RunItBackPhillyShop.com. That helps me pay the bills and keep going. Let's get into the business, man. All right, so here's the part of the podcast, the Lowe post, where Ramona Shelbourne says what she has heard. Again, this could be all made up. This could be people just making content. I'm just giving my thoughts on what she's saying she heard from people close to James Harden. Here's the first part.
Yeah. And that's Daryl Morey. I don't even know where I want to start here. So why don't I start at the end, which is, how do you think this is going to play out?
I have heard, it's interesting because obviously you talk to a lot of people close to both guys and both sides here. There are some people close to Harden who say absolutely not. He's never going to play for them again. He's so stubborn. He's so hurt and betrayed. I can't see him ever doing that.
See, this is what's fascinating to me because it's almost both things at the same time. So there's people close to Harden saying absolutely not. He's never playing for the 76ers again. He's hurt and betrayed by Daryl Morey. He was in China saying out loud, Daryl Morey's a liar, and I'm never playing for a team that Daryl Morey is a part of. And I do think James Harden is that stubborn and that stuck in his own ways. I don't see him as the kind of person that would back down. I don't see him as the kind of person that would take a L in this situation and say, okay, fine, I'll play. He's done it. He did it in Houston. Okay, fine, I'll show up to training camp. But this just seems a little more, this seems like it's on a different level because of the personal situation between him and Daryl Morey. So I see that, and then I also see, again, he has to play. You're not 27. If you refuse to play, you have absolutely no value and nobody wants you. This part's interesting right here.
I can't see him ever doing that. And then there's other people who are, this is him him sort of suggesting he's going to come in and be in the best shape of his life.
Notice she says there's other people sort of suggesting that he's going to come in and be in the best shape of his life.
And be amazing and reestablish his value in the NBA. And I don't know how they get there, whether that's for Philly or somebody.
There's other people sort of suggesting that he comes in the best shape of his life and is amazing and reestablishes his value in the NBA. The first thing I want to say about that is, I'm leaning more towards no. I'm leaning more towards he's not coming. Because coming back in the best shape of your life and reestablishing your value in the NBA, guess what? He had 2 years to do that in Philly, and he didn't do it. He had 2 years to establish his value in the NBA. Guess what, James? Guess what, everybody? If you didn't put up a damn clunker in Game 6 and then completely quit and look disinterested in Game 7, if you didn't amplify the narrative that already existed on your career that you fall off in the playoffs, if you didn't live up to the choking in the playoffs narrative to the extreme level that you did in Game 6 and Game 7, you would have gotten the contract you wanted. It's too little too late for me. It's just too little too late. If you would have been in the best shape of your life and played amazing, and even if you had bad games in Game 6 and Game 7, if the effort looked like it was there, and you put up, 15 or 20 points instead of 9 and 7 turnovers, if you were just decent in the playoffs, you had 2 good games, I agree with you. If you were just decent in Game 6 and Game 7, you probably would have got the contract. But you were so bad when it mattered the most. You were so bad when it mattered the most. That's why you didn't get the contract. Now you're going to come in the best shape of your life and reestablish your value in the NBA? You already had a chance to do that. We've seen it. I'm not buying it. Shout out to my dude, Nick Marchetti, sending me this. One of my dudes has been rocking with the channel for a long time. Wanted to shout you out. I don't know if I've ever shout you out before. I shout you out in live streams and things like that. But thanks to anybody that DMs me articles and other things that I might have missed that I can use to make YouTube content. So I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Thanks, Nick. He sends me this. And it says, James Harden has kept the bridges open with players on the Sixers and remains in communication with Joel Embiid. Ramona Shelburne said on the Low Post podcast, they're still in communication. They still talk. Yeah, I mean, look, I don't think James had any beef with Joel. I don't think James had any beef with any players on the squad. I think James definitely had beef with Doc Rivers, which is pretty easy to do. I have beef with Doc Rivers. But yeah, this doesn't surprise me, but this also doesn't really mean anything to me. You know what I mean? Players are professional. And as Danny Green said, as a player, you're always going to take the player's side. Players ride with each other. You know, players are in a brotherhood. You know what I mean? They're not going to side with the GM. They're not going to side with the ownership. You know, you relate to each other because you're all NBA players. You're all in this same thing. Most athletes ride with each other versus management or ownership. You know what I mean? Unless you're Donovan McNabb, who was the teacher's pet and acted like a little bitch, and that's why the Eagles didn't re-sign Terrell Owens and didn't win a Super Bowl in the early 2000s. And he threw up on the field because he's an alcoholic and he was partying the night before the Super Bowl. Anyway, I got a little bit off topic here. This doesn't surprise me. To me, this is like when one of your friends has beef with another friend, you know, but you still hang out with both of them separately. And then eventually one of them will be like, yo, why do you still rock with that dude, man? He said this about me. And I'm like, I said, I'm like, because I've been in a situation. I'm sure you've been in a situation, right? And you're like, hey, listen, man, I'm not getting involved in the beef. You know what I mean? I'm not getting involved in the he said, she said. I don't know who said what to who. I love both of you guys. It's not my business. That's how I see this. So it doesn't shock me that James and Joel still talk, but I don't think it means anything. I think James Harden is pissed off, does not want to work for Daryl Morey. But I think he's going to have to. I'm not buying that he's going to come in the best shape of his life and regain his value in the NBA. I think James Harden's going to show up to training camp because he has to. I think he's going to be in communication with the Clippers and his team or his agent or whoever is going to be in communication with the Clippers. They're going to say, listen, James wants to play for you. He's going to come to Philly because he has to. I don't think he's going to get... my brain hurts. I would see more likely a Houston situation where he comes in because he has to, isn't in the best shape of his life, and just does what he has to do, maybe until the trade deadline. I think that's more likely than he comes in the best shape of his life and he's amazing and regains his value in the NBA. I would see more of a Ben Simmons at practice with a phone in his pocket situation. That's what I would see. But y'all give me all your thoughts in the comments. We're going to find out the answer pretty soon. But I just wanted to take out that little Ramona Shelbourne part of the Zach Lowe podcast for you, give my thoughts on it. And y'all have a blessed day, man. Peace.